John Zorn, everybody. John Zorn. So this was Pierre's last sunset, filmed by Miles. Okay, you can move. All right. So again, thank you again, John, to start us. They shared many things, Pierre and John, but one thing was punctuality. They really loved being on time. And we did it. Good. Pierre is rejoicing. It's maybe the first time ever the poetry project started on time. And everybody's here in this seat. You guys are amazing. Well, okay, so this is not my glass, but I'm going to put it here. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for the poetry project to host us. Thank you for the strong Luxembourgish delegation. We have the consul, the general consul represented here by his wife Alexandra Bru, and we have the consul Pajan, and we have the new deputy consul. And Pierre was a proud Luxembourger. Did I say it? Luxembourger? Did I say it right? Yeah, I say it right. And it's important to say it tonight because over the years, he received a strong support from the Luxembourg Art Council, and POASIS II actually received the grant from the council. So it's Filmos Mercy. That's all they say. Then thank you to Wesleyan University Press, especially Susanna Taminen and Stephanie here. Susanna is the director, editor-in-chief at Wesleyan. She edited 3 of Pierre's books, very important books. Susanna will share some remarks later, but I really want to thank her team deeply. I'm going to start crying here because they walked me through this process. It was amazing, you know. I mean, that was not something I was used to. So with kindness and nurturing me, and Jim Schley needs to be mentioned, the copy editor. So you guys have been incredible. And Susan B. and Charles Bernstein, who were the proofreaders, because you know, people know my spelling. So thank you so much. And they've done more than that. But also, thank you to Soho Letterpress and Noonan, who donated this beautiful program that's on your seat. Take it home. And this will give us the order. We're not presenting anybody. We're not talking in between. We're just going bam, 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 bam. And so make sure if you don't have one, there is more at the table there. So have a program to know who's performing, and you can introduce yourself. But we're not going to call you. You're responsible for your spot. And then I want to thank my family: Joseph, Miles, Kelsey, Yuri. And Yuri has a lot to do also with the program because she was the liaison with Soul Letterpress. So thank you so much. But thank you guys so much. I love you immensely. And you need to know that Pierre was absorbing a lot of my energy. And sometimes I'm a little bit out of bounds. And now my kids have to absorb it. So I try to refrain, but it's a big job for them. So I learn. Moving on, Pierre is resting at Greenwood Cemetery, as some of you were with us on this beautiful day, even if it was intense. And we still don't have a stone, but the stone is coming, and we will let you know when the stone comes up. And moving on, yes, to the poetry portion of my program. This is a bit weird. Okay, maybe I have to do it this way. So our couple had no boundary between daily life and artistic practice. One way to look at our dynamic, and it fits my purpose tonight, is Pierre was the pneuma and I was the soma. He prompted the words and I got us in motion. We called it Domopoetics. This photo was taken in the Pyrenees, where we spent a lot of time until 2020. And here we see Pierre kindling our fire with a bouhadet. In Occitan Gascon, that is the tool to kindle the fire. At the time, we were doing Occitan translation and spending a lot of time in the Occitan country, where we had a house and where I'm from. So I told him, Pierre, que hay un buhaire de muts. He said, what is that? I said, un buhaire de muts, a blower of words, a word whisperer, a word prompter, a breather of words, and it also means bagpipe player. He laughed, and he went to grab his selected poem, Breccia, his first one, which his first publisher is here. Francis Van Melle is right here. And he said, he presented Breccia, he said, read this poem. And I'm going to read it. This is a very early poem of Pierre, probably written when he was around 25 years old. And for the record, I counted that Pierre has around 80 publications, counting everything. So for more detail on this particular poem, you can read an essay in Cartographies of the In-Between, a collection of essays on Pierre, work edited by Peter Kokelberg. I wrote the whole story about it, but you read that. Today we're just going to do the poem. All you need to know is that NOB stands for Norman O'Brown, which a lot of you must know. So, I'm going to try my best. So he was about that age when he wrote this. A bundle of rods bound up with an axe, in the middle, its blades projecting, to and against NOB. Killed an owl with a crooked arrow, pierced an owl 7 separate places, made the faceless sky a person. To do this, he who tries must be king, or fell, for leather bag is not windbag, but chaos killed sevenfold for possibilities of rebirth, end, pure ritual creation in the making of all as is condensed in the glyph, before diluting fall into metaphor. A fall put the poet, the maker, into the hands of the king, a bundle of letters, the law of the assembled, like acorns assemble the sows, or not like, but still the glyph distilled, in place of which is nowhere, and only in time the first letter is a matter, a pure matter, and simple thing, though not simpler than simple, that is complex enough to create attraction, from which is created the city, which is syntax. And as we fumbling through the actual fall into a metaphor, became the bungled bundle, the faces bound with wet leather straps, torn from the poisonous windbag's soft underbelly, dried in king's hot speech contract, they shrink, breaking the arrow's crookedness, forcing the straight narrow, the fake simple, the slack syntax. the Celan aficionado will start recognizing a lot of things in it, the sao, all that. And I will finish with, I need a little water for this. I will finish with the first poem I ever sang of Pierre's. I didn't sing before I met Pierre. I always wanted to, but my family made me refrain. Really. So you're going to have to suffer it tonight. So this is a poem that was published in POASIS II. So Susanna will talk to you about how to buy the books. And the English will be on the screen, and I will sing the French. I think we translated it together, but I'm not sure anymore. Les voix s'effacent, quelqu'un tente de les rappeler de leur tombe. Dans l'air, un désespoir mène à l'eau, pas à la turbulente, mais vers les temps profonds et calmes. Aucun poisson ne s'y hasarde. Kleine Aster, keine Mandel. Cet arbre maintenant pousse le fait en bas. Tu escalades son tronc tordu, tu cèdes quand il cède, et moi je regarde le tout tomber. Si tu écoutes, je peux capter un fil d'autrefois. Il est rouge, il est bleu, il ne rime pas, mais serpente en amont d'une colline, une langue que je pensais oublier, oubliant qu'en elle je pensais. Parle en lignes de longueurs inégales, chante même les pires désastres, m'appelle, nous appelle, comment ne pas la suivre? Qu'importe combien lourd le cœur et l'âme, l'envie reste de continuer contre tout ce qui est à venir. I love you, mon Pierrot, I love you. Resist, persist, and care. Miles.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for being here. It's been a while since I've seen a lot of you, and definitely not with me up here. Normally I'm under a chair or something. Surreal doesn't even begin to describe this. I've, since I was really young, had a sort of obsession with the fear of my dad not being here, which I think a lot of us do, but mine was a little bit older, so the first time somebody at my school said, "Yo, your dad's old, dude," it sort of set it in my head. And the one thing I never saw or imagined was the love and the people and the nutrients, the spiritual nutrients that come from an experience of loss like that. The fear for so long was just, it was fast food in a way. And being here and going through this and having a community is really incredible. And I thank you all for being here. I'm going to read one poem of his that was incredibly important for me in that it was one of the first times I ever worked in the film medium with my family. We all made things together ever since I was a kid. And the Altars of Light video was one of the first things. No, it's good we don't have it. It was very small. I'm going to read that, this poem. But it was the first time it showed me that making things, making films, which would be the most important thing for me later on, was something you could do at home with the people that you loved. And it's also a poem which every time I rediscover it means more to me. This is Altars of Light, and then I'm going to read a small piece I wrote for him. And if you've heard him read the poem, please forgive me. Because one thing I came to learn about my dad is how incredible he was at reading. If the light is the soul, then soul is what's all around me. It is you. It is around you too. It is you. The darkness is inside me, the opaqueness of organs folded upon organs. It makes light in the house of the body, thus to bring the outside in, the impossible job. And the only space to become, the skin, the border, the in-between, where dark meets light, where I meets you. In the house of world, the many darknesses are surrounded by light. To see the one, we need the other. It cuts both ways. Light on light is blind. Dark on dark is blind. Light through dark is not. Dark through light is movement. Dark through light becomes, is becoming. To move through light is becoming, is all we can know. And now I'm going to read a piece that's less of a piece, it's more of a list that I've been making. My dad was very excited for baseball season. He always was. I know you all knew him as a poet, but I knew him as a borderline fanatical Mets fan whose real dream was for me to go into the MLB. So this is called The Things I Would Tell You. The Mets are off to a good start. Soto isn't doing much yet, but I'm sure he'll turn on soon. The crowds go crazy for him. I've been playing your records, your Coltrane especially. It doesn't play well anymore. In fact, it hardly plays at all. Its grooves have been carved out by you, by your hand over decades, placing and replacing the needle at your favorite parts. But each skip and hiccup launches you back into life, your impression, your love supreme. Those skips hold your presence and your absence at once. Each missing moment of music carves a ghost where you were, a presence made by absence, an absence made by the presence of absence. I never realized a love supreme was a ghost story. You remember how you used to say you wanted to call me Train instead of Miles? I'm glad you don't have to see what's going on in the world right now. It would have spoiled any extra time you had. Your big heart and righteous temper would flex. Mr. Universe you would be. The Mets are good this season. Soto woke up, but for some reason he can only hit solo home runs, not when anyone's on base. I call him Juan Solo. Kelsey calls him Han Solo. Since you've been gone, I've been reading so much. I know you always wanted me to read more. Maybe that was the only means I had of rebelling against such hip parents. Willful illiteracy. But I've made my way through Philip K. Dick, and I'm reading Underworld now, and I read the Parker series. And it's not because I know it would make you happy. It's because I want to see with your eyes. I want to see what you saw, how you saw it. And I've got some of your clothes now. A lot of them fit, and I wear them when the smell gives me strength, although sometimes it hurts too much. But one day, about a week ago, I was on the couch, and the Mets game was on mute, and I was reading, and I had your jeans on, and I was looking between the pages of Underworld and the game, and you were summoned. For a moment, I was you, and I felt peace. The Mets are starting to fall apart. The April curse waited for August before Medusa's gaze turned them to stone. And you'd be so proud of Mom. She carries you everywhere, even when it hurts like hell. It is no burden. She says crying summons you. Crying doesn't make her sad. It makes her feel like you're there. Her grief gives you a body, presence. For me, it's a bit different. My tears come from not sharing a present anymore. But the Mets really are on a roll now. They're in first place, a couple games ahead of the Phillies. I saw POASIS II today, the physical copy. I think you'd be so happy with how the books have come out. Nicole and Charles and Susan and your publishers worked so hard to finish what you weren't able to. I can't believe you won't be able to inscribe it for me. The Mets are 6 games behind the Phillies now. Jesus Christ. Dad, I love you. I miss you. I'm so proud of you. But I think the Mets blew their chance at the wild card. I love you. I miss you. They fucking lost again. I love you. I miss you. There's always next season, right? Thank you guys so much.
Damn it, I've got to follow that. I also used to be one of the people sitting in the back here for a very long time. This feels a little strange, right, Miles? To look at all of these people that you used to see standing here, and now you're talking to them. So I'm just going to share a quick story that I think might resonate with a lot of you here, and I'll read one of Pierre's poems. I was 11. I had just bought my first compact disc. It was Nirvana's Nevermind. It was that adolescent moment when a piece of media just takes you. It's fierce, it's new. Nothing's gonna be the same afterwards. The whole album is amazing, not just the song on the radio. So dark and brooding. It was the album that was gonna change everything. We had just moved from Albany to Albany from California. And I didn't have friends yet to discuss music with, but Pierre was always there to talk to me about whatever I was interested in. So the afternoon after I got the album, I had to play it, and really loud. I was excited. I was gonna blow my stepfather's mind. Then he's listening to it, and he just turns to me and goes, you know, this reminds me a lot of one of my favorite albums. And I'm like, what? How's that possible? You don't understand how earth-shattering this is. He goes over to his vinyl collection. He pulls out this album, this pure white album with just a banana on the cover. And he starts playing this song, and after the screech of an electric viola, it's my mind that gets blown. And now I have 2 new favorite bands, and I had just heard Heroin by the Velvet Underground for the first time, and it blew my mind. And it wasn't actually the first time that this happened. I remember when he had heard that I was interested in Dungeons and Dragons, and he's got his friend Harold to give me a beautiful hardcover version of The Lord of the Rings. When he heard that I was really getting into comedy and I liked this guy, George Carlin, and he's really great, he's like, oh yeah, have you heard of Lenny Bruce? He's really good too. It just kept happening again and again. I'm listening to I'm really getting into Led Zeppelin right now. It's like, oh, you know, you should also really listen to Son House and Robert Johnson. See where those Brits got it from. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Now I'm a huge blues fan. Oh, A Fistful of Dollars. Yeah, that was really good. We should really watch Kurosawa's Yojimbo. Oh, you're 17 and into cyberpunk and conspiracy theories now? Have you read Robert Anton Wilson's Illuminatus trilogy? It's a deep cut, but the 3 people who get that, no. The amazing thing was he always really met me where I was, without any condescension, and he always managed to extend the landscape. In my last big conversation with him, we were talking politics, and we landed on the subject of authenticity and its meaning in the modern political context, which led to Walter Benjamin, and Pierre knew that I always had this harsh criticism for the work of art in the art age of mechanical reproduction, but that maybe I should go back and check out the Arcade project because I might be able to extrapolate some things the way he talked about architecture, and then he just pointed to his bookshelf as always. And look, I'm sure everyone here has at least a few stories like that about him. The point is, he made the world bigger. He would create new connections with you. And then sometimes he would even make the word bigger itself. So here's a poem that he wrote about that. It's called The Word, the mawqif. The word is as the mawqif, the station, the oasis, the momentary resting place. The caravan of syntax discovers it, the new word, as it, the sentence, pushes into the not yet written. The word comes or is given. However that happens, gift or present, possible poison in the present or the present poisoned. And I stop. And if the word is new or renewed, I will be surprised and delighted and rest in it for a moment. Then the push of tawil will get the sentence or line or caravan on track. No, on the trek again into the desert ahead in search of another oasis word, resting place, station. Thanks, Pierre, for everything.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see this full house. I'm Susanna from Wesleyan University Press, and I'm very honored to be here among you tonight. As has been mentioned, I had the very good fortune to work with Pierre at Wesleyan on 3 of his books, starting in the late 90s, and then just this past year on POASIS II, which is available for sale over there. And if we run out of books, you can also order here, and there is a special 30% discount. So do that. As many of you know, working with Pierre meant keeping up with and being gifted by a mind that was incredibly generous. Generous as in open and marked by abundance, a mind moving across languages, cultures, histories, and also generous as in deeply kind. He was also very persistent, but without ever actually being pushy, and as an editor, I really appreciated that. During the work on POASIS II, he was often tired from treatment and saddened by the deaths of friends and peers, but he was always unfailingly gracious, almost courtly. That was a word I felt about him. And he always seemed to me deeply resolute, just committed. Whatever he took on, he was very committed to. And no doubt that's related to his, how prolific he was. In a recent essay, Charles Bernstein said that Pierre's work is marked by courage, and that really resonates for me. I think the expansiveness of his work is heart-centered. It's rooted in presence, courage in the sense of self opened to the world, self-formed through love, including love's expressions of grief and joy, and the willingness to sit with mystery. So with that in mind, I'm going to read the very last part of POASIS I, which is also quoted on the cards that are here tonight. This is, we live in between dunes, Bedouins in charge of our coming and going. Birth and death, someone else's charge. Ours, the long in-between, i.e., time, as birth and death are not. Not to worry. You had your birth given you. You will be given your death. In between, keep moving. Thank you.
Whoa. Sabbatean Piyut. Sorrow's long game and ongoing song. Joy forms a skating atop it, so gracious. Madness of thinking incongruous commons. Its music from emptying the otter containers draws out to exhale in words. The last time I was here, Pierre was up here, and we were saying goodbye to our friend Jerry. And he was so alive. And now he's with Jerry. This is a poem of Pierre's called Presence, because I feel his presence. And I said recently to someone, I hear his voice, and also Jerry's voice, every day. Presence, hudur, always comes before the mirror reveals it. It is the abstraction we live in. A body is a sea. It is always in movement, always in movement. It precedes us and it follows us, Adonis. The present is how we think of it afterward. In the in-between, we cannot grasp. The barzakh, we travel, archipelago of the everyday, except the last and the one after. So just before he passed away, I spoke to him quite a bit. We were working on something together. A reader of his work that will be out in the spring from Contramundum Press. In Between, Keep Moving, it's called. A Pierre Joris reader. We had been working on it for 5 years, and it's now done. And we finished it just as he was leaving us. And the last conversation I had with him, he said, Ariel, I'm ready, but I don't want to leave you all behind. And so he's here, you know. Our permanent impermanence, some act of radical love, to read this poem knowing very well you can't go with me, nor I with you, that each of us must go alone into the unknown, despite us all having been here together once. I'm going to end with a poem called Procession of Planets. That's for two of my very closest friends, Jerry Rothenberg and Pierre Joris. Procession of Planets. Poured forth from drain of not saying, reiterative thought for thought, not from song exactly, but bewildering, seedling, sensually green. Song nonetheless, you tongue a corrective. Springs forward gleeful, greeting you at every opening. In tadpole vision, thin with purple or pink lenses, in joy and possibility, irreparably you signal a far star, mazel, for Jerry to ferry us here among the constellations. And there, Pierre, dear infectious wanderer, pondering still, pours forth speech in dense ice treads slipped to desert flow or shaggy moonscape, a paradise of poets. My friends are never gone. In the slow, sus phrases I hear such unapologetic swagger, so very them. What the old rockers didn't get, that these aren't chords at all, they're made up. Only John and Alice, Pharaoh and Mingus. To think of Jerry and Pierre's California in this way, in Encinitas, San Francisco, or even Berkeley, say, smacks ears with subtlest glimpse, California babe that I be. And no small street mammal in the least, but to dwell in dense poemscapes, and good to live with a cat. That's Jerry. At calling forth out from without, from within a wisdom in music, the creator has a working plan. That's Pharaoh. That song soothes in song, and you begin at the beginning and go on. Unless you live in the song, the music, the poem. My friends are never gone, you mutter. The matter at hand, rather upending, ceaseless voices, my living loves who now join the ancestors. Look, here they are in their words, thoughts, dreams, still, stolid, though never stagnant. No, not even for a moment, but staying the course, pouring forth. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Amna Zghal, and I am a painter. Emancipation. What is tough is the final hard qaf, following lit. How to get from t, explosive air-expelling end, to qaf, way further back, how to emancipate an old habituated throat, to associate consonants, to make them strange bedfellows on a bed of new air, how to breathe between the precipitation, no pad solution, no lit conforming ease, to learn anew how to breathe. Translated to Arabic by Sana Fathi. عتق. الشاق في هذه القاف النهائية العسيرة التالية على العاء كيف تحصل على التاء في انفجار هوائها المطرود في النهاية حتى تبلغ القاء التي تقع بعيدا عنها ثم كيف تحرر الحلق القديم الذي اعتاد على ربط الحروف الساكنة لكي يجعل منها مرافقين غرباء على سرير من الهواء الجديد كيف نتنفس بين حروفها دون تسرع دون استسهال للحلول فهي ليست كالعاء المريحة التقليدية لتعلم منها مجددا كيفية التنفس. Pierre worked with two people that meant the world to me. One of them is Adonis, and I want to shout out for this book, which is a conversation between Pierre and Adonis, which reading it recently kind of made me reconnect with my own center. So from the Piranian notebook, I will proceed in a collage fashion to read just a fragment from The Sanctuary of Hands. The countdown gives of 231 paintings of hands in negative outline and positive imprint. 114 show mutilations of one or more fingers. Only 10 show no deficiency in finger joints. The remaining 107, not well enough preserved, through the millennia, to allow a decision as to whether they were mutilated or not. There are right hands, there are left hands, hands of women, hands of men, hands of children. Note, all thumbs are there. No thumb is mutilated. Oh, opposable, self-definition of the human, these are. The Cro-Magnon hands, fingers folded in silent, code as paint, is blown from the mouth or bone to frame a hand. Language of bent fingers decodes the layers of human understanding of humans. The other person that Pierre worked with was my mentor, Irving Petlin. And Pierre wrote about a body of work that Irving painted inspired by Celan. And the same thing, I'm going to proceed in collage fashion. I'm just read few fragments. Paul Celan's first appearance in the work of Irving Petlin takes the form of an absence, a nearly ghostly disappearance, or that at least of a hesitation, a stammer, a marked absence. And about Einmal, once, a poem by Celan. As if this poem, the last one in the book, set off in a section by itself, claims that someone did wash the world, and that the light and salvation did happen, was so unbelievable that it had to be returned to again and again, had to be worried over and over to make sure that it was not that same old transcendental bone thrown as a sop to us humans. And much what is said here about Irving and about Celan is true for Pierre. Keats called negative capability, i.e., the ability of being in uncertainties, mysteries, doubts, without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. It is the strength of Paul Celan's poem and of Irving Petlin's paintings that they create a coherent yet mysterious, imagined yet real, exterior yet also interior worlds, and help us gain confidence and mobility in our confrontation with the mystery of the daily. They teach us to breathe, first in, then out, then in again. They teach us to go on. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alan Fisher. I met Pierre Joris in London in 1971. A couple of years in from writing Place, I dedicated a poem to Pierre, and I'm going to read the beginning of that poem now. Now it's Pound dead. After Olsen and before him, before us, in front of us, a flow of field spiralling out. We can only look back into a centre or a distance. From here, striding cornices of gyrations, generation and generation, motored from here to speak our paths. And there isn't just one, the wave we are riding crests. The voyage Homer always meant to make evolves again and again, not through him or me, except through me, via us to a collective. A mythology new to our children and forefathers, and old the way knowledge is, saying, not one path, many, not many, 1,000 in the same whirl, one whirl, outside of here, I mean apart from us, this planet, not astride galaxies larger than space maps. It is here, from here, we must concentrate. A transformer, 1,000 wires spiraled to motor our small reserves. A foreseeable eternity, ecstasy, a violent vibration shattering internal organs together, opening the rose that our being is, that is the world, the universe, universes, bursting its fullness, ripe as rattling apples, out of this cold storage that causes us to mope over inner meanings, obscure sources, inferences. We've got to smell ourselves out toward a clarity we can comprehend, that we can grasp over every skin. Fresh boiling tea on cold fingers. It isn't pounded that must cause this. It is, he is not done. We are left not to close the shop.
Hi, I'm Amiel Alkali. Thank you, Nicole, for asking me. I'm going to read a brief piece that I wrote for Pierre called In Whom We Trust, a Question in Translation, for Pierre, to Pierre. The last conversation we had, you told me about a friend who asked you if you had any regrets, and you said your only regret was that you stopped studying Arabic and wished that you had continued. I assured you not to worry, that after all these years I was finally committed and I would see your wish through. And not primarily to translate, but more to transport, to be elsewhere, to take myself out of the l'Amérique you so movingly inscribed like a bilingual drive echoing our mutually beloved Jack Kerouac. Through almost 2 years of genocide in Gaza, I've been thinking a lot about trust. Whom do we trust? Whom can we trust? 2 days after the premeditated Israeli assassination of Palestinian journalist Anas al-Sharif, along with 5 of his colleagues, a story appeared in Middle East Eye, an online journal I write for, about the Bosnian National Museum in Sarajevo's decision to contribute all proceeds relating to its most important artifact, the 14th century Hebrew illuminated manuscript known as the Sarajevo Haggadah, to Palestinian causes. The director, Mirsad Siric, is an old friend whose poems I translated while he was on the front lines fighting in defense of besieged Sarajevo, and he was quoted. Another friend, Amila Butorovic, was also quoted. For us, Gaza is a trigger for re-traumatization, while the scenes we see reminded us of how we were also forgotten, denied, disenfranchised, and humiliated. Amila's sister Aida worked at the National Library housed in City Hall, and when it was attacked by Serb forces in 1992, along with many others, she braved the flames to ferry books out of the building. Citizens and firefighters worked for 2 days, but were overpowered by the fire. On her way home, Aida was hit by shrapnel from an exploding shell. It took some days for her family to find her body at the morgue, where passers-by had taken it. I'm reminded of my friend Mossab Abu Toha's brother Hamza, once possessor of one of the most comprehensive libraries of classical Arabic texts on language and grammar, until it was destroyed when Israeli jets paid for by the US bombed their house in Beit Lahia, North Gaza, in October 2023. During the very brief ceasefire amidst the rubble of multiple displacements, Hamza cleaned the few books he was able to salvage and began asking friends to donate books for a new library. When it comes to certain things, I have a very hard time letting go. I'm truly stubborn in that way. I remember being somehow placed off limits from meeting George Oppen when he spent some time in Jerusalem in the 1980s, where I was living at the time. Led about by a group of Anglo-American settlers, his vision was obscured. Surely, I thought, had he been on his own, He couldn't have avoided seeing the obvious. I think of this a lot when I see Paul Celan come up in relation to Gaza. I've read about his 1969 trip to Jerusalem in detail, his meetings with Israeli poets, his being overwhelmed by the taint of what I can only call some sort of uncharacteristic triumphalism. And I've wondered, how could he not see? Did he, like Mary Rowlandson in the wilderness, see and then turn away? Or was he simply unable to see? While it might seem almost heretical now to even question, I think of Celan's very well-known last lines of what Pierre translated as ash glory. Nobody bears witness for the witness. I, all of us, must now be that witness, remembering the kinship in Arabic between witness, shahid, and martyr, shaheed. And even though I might have come to mistrust the poet, I still trust the translator. I trust Pierre.
It's been a season of many losses. I came across a journal entry recently. It says the Dalai Lama says, death is a change of clothing. This afternoon, Dante will be expelled from Florence. A good thing, as how could he have written so well? On the faraway imaginary exile of the comically divine realms, had he not known what it meant to walk over cold January days, ground, frost, clod breaking, heart beating from one city to the next. To come to this, that exile is but the next step you take, the unknown there, where your foot comes down, next, in heaven or on earth. Exile is when you can still lift a foot. Exile is when you are not yet dead. Second poem from Oasis. Le bleu is the hour when the night birds have fallen silent, and the birds of day do not yet stir. A blue silence, night's oldest. A blue hour, the coming day's youngest hour. Not yet days, premonition, a perfume against the brain. The Benjamin of hours smells of gum, of Benjamin gum, Benjamin. Not blue in swell, in itself, white or yellowish, crystal compound. The name adrift as ever, as they all are. This one from Arabic, Luban Jawi, frankincense from Java, from far into this night, into the blue of this hour. You are the oxygen of this hour.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ura Joan Noel. Abrazos to Nicole and all the family. In his many facets as poet, translator, critic, performer, and teacher, Pierre was the ultimate reader, generous yet rigorous, self-reflexive and eccentric, and always fully embodied. This he asked of himself and of those of us whom he mentored, formally and informally. Reading was breath study, was social body, uncontainable. Because Pierre read me generously, I began calling myself a translator. Because Pierre read me rigorously, I went to new places as a poet. And I am here because I read him and keep learning as I read him. And the networks, the kinetics of reading, the son in Olson. You remember interviewing at Albany and marveling at Pierre and Don geeking out over dinner over who the best Boston gay poet was. John Wieners? Stephen Jonas? Of course, Garrett Lansing. You remember thinking, now this is my kind of academic dinner conversation. You remember the party for Anne in Albany, dinner with Jerry in Brooklyn, celebrating Garrett in Kingston, the long commute uptown with Latasha, and Nicole making my partner laugh in Occitanglish, and of course, jazz and wine equally free-flowing. You remember Pierre's happiness at going to read for a former student up in Buffalo, basically for free, and his look of incomprehension when you asked if he wasn't tired from all he was doing. You remember asking Pierre for poems for a random issue of Boog, and him sending you a beautiful poem about reading Douglas Rothschild. You flip through the pages of POASIS II and come across galaxies of poems recited. We are all in the book. We are our own book. Libres, gracias, querido Pierre. So I have something just made up of the letters in Pierre Joris, because that's how we roll, nerd and all. So, but first I want to read a little bit of Pierre the Reader. This is from Writing Reading number 18 in POASIS II. The mouth is first place of spacing, retracts from breast, opens a cavity, cave, abyss, or ifis, hole, and o, an opening, an open ring. Is it touch before speech? It opens the first space, the first confusion, oral and buccal, the mouth simultaneously place and non-place, place of a dislocation, gaping space of the quasi-permixtio, Descartes, of soul and body, etc., le toucher. Try to think this mouth, opening together with the Olson, Celan, commissure, tessere, matters, or an opening, a gaping, also creates a commissure, an angle in common, a fold, i.e., beyond the reflexive s'ouvre, se détend, it creates a doubling, a commonality, comme mesure, trembling towards an outside, an exteriority. Opening opens in the middle voice, the I already too, formed by the opening of the mouth, makes it so, says it so, that makes it so by saying it, not round, no circle, an angle, angel, or in the circus a trapeze, an articulation breaks the round, breaks the ring of roses. To be, to say, becoming the circle is always angular, circling the fire. You become nomad by flying off at a tangent, at the commissure, that possibility a given. If song is there first, or singing, as Nicole suggests, then its loss via speech is necessary loss, is a breaking of that sound deeper down in the sound box, a making angular, a creation of lines, of flight. Speech would then be the nomadicity of human sound, with song and original at-homeness, sedentariness, we escape. And I've just got this, Pierre, thank you, of course, yeah. This is just me being a hog here. So, spires or spores, pores seep, ripe jeer, rips sorrier, prosier errors, jeeps poise, Jerry's, rosier prior soirée, je prie, rosir, ris, j'ose prier, respirer, rijo, repose, reprise, rise, joieuse, spree, ropes, espoir, ipso, seer, espio, poésie. And here the poem ends, but I want Pierre to take us away to where he meets Kerouac, another poet, another border poet, another poet of the end of vehicular languages. La vida goes on as I start. 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 Pierre. Gracias.
I don't remember when I met Pierre, sometime probably in the 1980s, but he was back and forth from here to Europe and here to North Africa and here to many other places. But then he ended up in Binghamton, New York, when I was living in Albany. And we got to see a lot of one another beginning then. He and my daughter, who is here tonight, would talk to one another about playing video games when she was a young teenager. And recently, my grandson was at a party at Pierre's and Nicole's house, and Pierre and Ren disappeared into Pierre's study, and they talked for an hour or so, and Ren reappeared with a copy of Naked Lunch at age 14. But then Pierre and the family moved to Albany, where I'd been teaching for a long time. And our families became families together a lot. We lived near one another. We saw one another. We had parties together at our house, and a lot of them at their house and our house. And so Pierre was my colleague and my friend, and everything that's been said here about him was true. He was generous. He was courtly. He was everything one could hope for in a friend. I have something very short to say. One never wants to be in these paradoxical and impossible situations. We were happy to see old friends, remember the friend we loved and the friend we lost, but it's impossible. We can't be here apart from reading a poem, living a poem. Here's some variations on Pierre's little poem, I Like the Imp, from Canto Diurno number 5. I like the imp, an impossibility that makes it all possible. I like the imp, an impossibility that makes it all possible. I like the imp, an impossibility that makes it all possible. Always act, imp, to make more things possible, more ways to act next time. Thank you.
So wonderful. Thank you, Nicole and family and everyone. A great night. So I'm going to be joined by Devin Braja Waldman, my wonderful nephew who knew Pierre. And I want to thank you for knowing my family, Ambrose, of course, and staying in touch in those ways. And yes, as Don said, all the things that have been said have been true. And I was thinking of, I met Pierre, of course, on these premises, probably in '67. He was at Bard. I was maybe a little bit older, like half a year. We were pretty close. And he is so gorgeous. I mean, courtly, beyond courtly, just this incredible movie star. What? And resolute was the word Suzanne used, resolute. I mean, I felt he was already a poet and proud of it. And I was always happy to meet poets at an early age that was it. That was going to be the life. And so one felt that very clearly with Pierre. I'm grateful, so grateful for that. And so grateful for the translation you did just in the last few years of his life for the book in Algeria. Great honor to be translated there. So we have two short things. First is from this book that's being celebrated tonight, Oasis II, and I'm just going to read from the end of this wonderful series, Meditations on the Stations of Mansour al-Hala, and I want to read Pierre's note. This is the postface. I started this sequence of poems shortly after the US invaded Iraq, somehow wanting to ward off or hold at bay the utter destruction of the people and the city of Baghdad, one of the greatest old cities in the history of humanity. Years earlier, when living in Algeria and reading up on Sufism and related matters, I had been fascinated by the big 4-volume work the French Orientalist scholar Louis Massignon had dedicated to Mansour al-Hallaj, the 10th century revolutionary poet, Sufi teacher, and thinker. Al-Hallaj had been executed after much torture in Baghdad on 6 March 922, after 11 years spent in a Baghdad jail. His crime had been to have said, Ana al-Haq, I'm sorry for my pronunciation, or I am the truth, an expression that traditionally names one of the attributes of God, something neither the political or religious powers of the day could condone, even from a very famous and highly loved and esteemed visionary poet and teacher. And then the note at the end is, I dedicate this, so this is a series you should all read in this wonderful book we're celebrating. I dedicate this work to my son Miles, who turned 11 the year the Iraq War started, a war that is thus the first one he consciously experienced in his life. I cannot even say, may it be the only one. as several wars have broken out since and are raging on. May he and his generation be spared the worst of these totally unnecessary, lethal, inhuman insanities. That was January 6th of 2012. So we're going to do the last part of this 40 beginning Bidaya. The end is in the beginning. The end is the beginning. The troops have left. Have the troops left? I can finish what I began when they first invaded, and promise not to end until they had all left. The troops have left. Have the troops left? Too easy to claim an end as a new beginning. Nothing begins anew, nothing begins anew, nothing ends for keeps except the lives of those killed by the bullets put money into the pockets of those who sold you the war. Those who never had their hands in their own pockets, those who never stood in any desert except their own hearts' alkali waste, and the lint in their pockets soaked through with spent blood now, pulled from pockets and flicked onto the desert's face, thousands of lives stubbed out like camel butts. The troops have left. Have the troops left? U.S., you know Orestes. Iraq, you know Argos. Not Jemwali. Sartre's flies did not leave. The Lord thereof keeps buzzing. Both but Sumer shall rise again. Baghdad will be Baghdad again. Others who be the truth, al-Haq, will be put to life and to death. Other poets will write and celebrate. Oh, now then let's begin the beginning. Bidaya, the Bedouin, bring back the sound of a music so tender, a night of desert splendor. Bring back a memory of green in a rapture so serene that what were raging fires now are glowing memory embers. Desire, not dead. Desire, not dead. And if the city hurts you, walk out into the deep pockets of the desert, the place we all came from, the place we shall all return to. Mansour, Mansour, lead the dance. The end is in the beginning. The end is the beginning. The troops have left. Have the troops left? And so this is a little bit, just a few notes from, we were reading the wonderful Descent of Villette here, and that was the last time I saw Pierre, and he did an incredible, activated reading, really powerful, and we chatted for a while, and then the day he died, I sort of started to put something together, so this is just a skeleton of something. Vision of the Two Faces. So I was seeing those early photos. And of course, there are many faces of Pierre. So Vision of the Two Faces. Mystic idea of one preceding the living person, one, and that one or precedent one performing actions in advance. All those Pierres manifest in all those doings, all those years, thousands of words, voices structured for the nomadic tentacles, astonishment, upheaval, way of the clouds. Transmissions, the handsome, young, one face pops up, lights up, initiates rock, stone, the accented Luxembourgian voice, give a gloss, deluxe emblem, ceremonial in tongues, emblature, Pierre. Then Arabic, many assignments, rituals, fractures in the mad world, putting the world back together in newest tongue could be the oldest tall order for poetry, Joris, earthworker. Not let it get buried, I say over and over. Baraka said, we all saying, what's going on over there? No one's studying, what's the problem? Over and over, don't let it get buried. Aramaic through Petra, Petros, Pierre, the stone, rock, fount, and foundation of our imagination. First cause of strife, my thoughts you put down in soil. Homegoing, all you, homegoing, going, all you gave, give, my brother, under the sun, just ours, chill, and ashes put down. Last seen in the poetry church with Nicole doing the epic poet of Alette. Searing to catch the tyrant, unmask his puny need on this planet. New wildness will wander, destroy the fabric of humanity and paint it white, whitewash it. Listen, tell your wit. Met so young, flashback aspiration of your word heart, palpable than ever in the realm of the wood snake. Losar, New York City. Thank you. Thank you, Devin.
We are flesh, breaths that vanish with no return. So it is with Pierre Joris, who we come here to mourn and celebrate. For Regis Bonvicino and Pierre Joris. They say a door slams closed and another opens. But isn't it a door shuts and then another? From the book we launch here tonight, POASIS II, echoing Joseph's beautiful reading of the same poem. The word, the mawqif. The word is as the mawqif, the station, the oasis, the momentary resting place. The caravan of syntax discovers it, the new word, as it, the sentence, pushes into the not yet written. The word comes or is given, however that happens. Gift or present. Possible poison in the present or present poisoned. And I stop. And if the world is new or renewed, I will be surprised and delighted and rest in it for a moment. Then the push of tawil will get the sentence or line or caravan or track. No, on the trek again into the desert ahead in search of another oasis word. Resting place. Station. Pierre taught me that all poetry is translation, but that in America the fundamental condition is always, but in America that fundamental condition is always under erasure. Without acknowledging the multi beneath the mono, we end up with what Patrick Pritchard calls the atoliated lyric and what I call the post-confessional, a poetics of compulsory conformity weaponized by compulsory virtuousness. Against this, Pierre proposes the barzakh, the in-between we cannot grasp. In Poesis II, Pierre appears as an American poet who, like many second language speakers, finds the American by coming to it from outside, an outside that all of us can embrace for its severing of ethno-nationalist longings, for its dispersing of English into a dynamic and striated field that belongs to no one except ever-emerging tongues, forged by sheer will into an oasis, what Pierre called poasis. Second and third and fourth language speakers are the originals within American poetry, and we do best to follow their lead. For those of us who don't have that good fortune, we can listen closely to poets such as Joris, Rosemary Waldrop, Etel Adnan, Myung Mi Kim, Williams, Loy, Zukowski, and Stein. As Joris insists in his nomadism, poetry is always a first language, and the mother tongue is always an other tongue, as we go from amniotic fluid to semiotic fluidlessness. When we write poems, we translate into a forged language, inflecting our locality, our vernacular, our family living. The kinds of poetry I want is, if nothing else, a foreign language that we make our own by reveling in the splits and spells of second sight and second thought. Pierre writes in his new book, the idea of purity of language is as ideologically fraught as that of purity of race, country, nationality. The only thing that makes life possible is the meeting of different elements. They create life, not some white-bearded old guy. The only thing that makes the poem possible is that same meeting of different elements, a meeting that creates a tension that makes sparks fly, sparks that light up our nights a little bit, or more if we learn how to keep the sparks flying. We are flesh, breaths that vanish with no return. Pierre's poems are speech songs, somewhere between Rosenzweig's speech thinking and Salon's breath turn. When we read or hear his work, we come up against speech grills, performative utterances at page's edge or ears tear. Pierre says, we are only eternal while we are alive. This restless impatience of impermanence goads his pointless poems of wandering without goal and of temporary oasis named between and among. From Poesis II, echoing Erica, this afternoon, Dante will be expelled from Florence. A good thing, as how could he have written so well on the faraway imaginary exile of the comically divine realms, had he not known what it meant to walk over a cold January's day, ground frost, clod breaking, heart beating from one city to another to come to this, that exile is but the next step you take. The unknown there where your foot comes down, next in heaven or on earth. Exile is when you can still lift a foot. Exile is when you are not yet dead. Pierre Joris's work is marked by a rare virtue for an American poet: courageousness, where the courage is not just what is said, but what is refused. The sanctity of the fixed place, nation or ideal, banner or standard. It's not just the tyranny of the monolingualism that Pierre Joris's verse contests. It's the tyranny of all forms of monomania. Single-mindedness in perspective, style, politics, form, language, identity, desire. From POASIS II. We always say, he or she died. That can be 700 years ago, in the past, or today, in what we call the present. Though not that tense. Though sometimes we say, he is dying. Though that refers always to something will happen in the future. We never say, he dies today. A present tense would sound like a future. No, dying's always in the past. Always has happened already. Is never more than someone else's memory of a past event. As if you will never die, but have always, already done so in the past. We are flesh, breaths that vanish with no return, says Pierre in POASIS II. Full date written out to draw a line between now and then, i.e., yesterday or last night, or this barely past night, here, now, it's dawn, death. Today's early child. Time, what we are inside of, banging our heads against, yet don't want to leave. Epitaph. A door stands open by you, in pierced light. We hear it slamming and slamming, who carry unknowing, who carry green in your ever. We are flesh, breaths that vanish without return. Gather now in the Barzakh, the station, the oasis, the momentary resting place. Pierre Joris's workshop is closed. The proprietor has gone home. Let the doors of POASIS open. Let the poems resound.
before the band sets up and the band will finish, I just want to thank you all very much, and all who performed. You've been amazing. It was so beautiful. He's been smiling the whole time. I know. He winked at me. You couldn't see that. It was just in between us. You have no idea. Feels so good. So now we're going to leave it to the band to finish it. And again, thank you. Thank you. I just want to, Randall, to mention something about the Pierre Joris's scholarship. The people for radical reversal, yes. So, yes, and, well, he's going to do that much better than I do. You can, on my blog, you can actually click and have more information, but he's gonna tell you more about this. Yeah. Thank you all. The band is taking over now.
Ooh. Where's my phone? Am I on? All right. What's up?
Give them better than standing in front of them.
All right. How's everybody? Y'all, are y'all like, like I'm spiritually fed right now in a lot of ways, just listening to the wonderful testimonies, the beautiful poems. And so my name is Randall Horton, but more so than that, Pierre was a very good, dear mentor to me, and it means a lot just to come here and and be in a privilege as well to listen to everyone's wonderful take on Pierre. And as I'm listening to the words, man, I'm going down memory lane in my head, some of those ways in which those things that sort of related to our relationship. So, I often say, I don't even think I'm where I am without Pierre in a lot of ways, man. He totally showed me, what it meant to be like a poet, for real, and what it meant.
you know. And he was serious about it, and he showed me so much. Anyway, thank you, Nicole, for bringing the band, that allowing us to bring the band, and so that means a lot. Briefly, I'll tell you about the Pierre Joris Fund for Radical Reversal. So, for context, we have a nonprofit organization. Devin and I, that's my collaborator, right there, Devin Roger Wallman. And what we do is we put recording studios inside the carceral state. And so we have 4, Oregon, Massachusetts, Minnesota, and we have one in Birmingham, Alabama. And so, Pierre was really supportive of what we did, and I think in many ways, his inspiration for me sort of like fueled a lot of that in a lot of different ways, serious. And what we wanted to do, along with Nicole and Miles, was to provide fellowships for the young residents who actually, so we're in Jefferson County Youth Detention Center, and so what we want to do is provide fellowships when they come out. What we're doing right now is we have a larger project called Creative Convergence Birmingham, Creative Convergence Birmingham. And what we're doing is we're building a connector in the community, right? And so we have one in the Youth Detention Center, and we're building one in the Inslee section of Birmingham, right? And so the kids actually, so when we have these, so we actually, man, and so, what we're going to do is have Radical Reversal Fellows, and Pierre Joris Fund will actually support that. And so when the kids go on the outside, they'll do a year-long program, audio recording, they have Pro Tools certification, they have mental health training. We have partnerships with colleges and universities for credit courses going toward a AA. So we're trying to work. We're trying to build something, and so and we're very honored to have. It seems like that was something. I just know Pierre would love that. So you can go to radicalreversal.org to donate, and yeah, enough of that. Hey, so what we're gonna do? All right.
High, higher, high, I go higher, I go high, 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 high.
The fragmented dilemma of the human, wanting to fly away through the pain, twisted in the cane brake, flies at a moment's notice through the stereotypical, so bent on Xing us, a complicated beauty of the eternal.
High, higher, high, higher, I go high, high, higher.
Against the erratic dishevelment of time, hanging out in the ozone, the oracular, shape-shifting alongside the obligato, perpendicular over the horizon, hold it steady, here we go, and we gone, wow!
Higher, higher and higher, higher and higher and higher, higher. We go higher and higher.
Oh, the promenade, over the promenade, again and again and again and again.
Stratting in the stratosphere, higher and higher and higher. Call it nostalgic love, call it past tense. Higher and higher and higher and higher.
Consider this an ultimatum, a warning, an emergency, a broadcast, an emergency. We, us, the collective beginning of another beginning and another beginning and another beginning.
Higher and higher, higher and higher. When they go low, I go high. Higher and higher and higher.
Higher.
Higher and higher.
Universal beings of loveliness, destined into a complete self. Higher and higher. Welcome to the other side of the great unknown. And we gone, and we gone, and we gone, and we gone.
Higher and high, higher and high, higher and higher and higher, higher. Call it nostalgic love, call it past tense. Higher and higher and higher and higher.
Higher.
Stratting.
And higher.
In the stratosphere.
And higher. And higher.
It's time to autocorrect it, yeah. It's time to autocorrect it, yeah. It's time to autocorrect. Higher and higher and higher and higher. Call it nostalgic love. Call it past tense. Higher and higher, higher and higher and higher. It's time to autocorrect it, yeah. Fly, fly, fly on. Fly, fly on. Fly on. Fly on. On and on and on. Higher and higher, higher and higher and higher and higher. Don't be defined. Don't be defined. Don't be defined. Resist the structure. Reject the structure. Fuck the structure. Fuck the structure. How can I be free? How can I How can I be free? Don't be defined. Resist the structure. Reject the structure. Fuck the structure. Among the halos, yeah, be original. I'm original. I'm one of a kind, set aglow. But aesthetic illusions, aesthetic illusions, aesthetic illusions. In real time, tell me, are any of you free?
Are you free?
Are
you
any
free?
of you free?
Who free? Huh?
How can I be free? Aesthetic illusions, life in between. Tell me it's all make-believe. We claim to be free.
Yeah.
To do as we please.
Say what?
But it's aesthetic illusions. Tell me, please tell me, are any of you free?
Who's free?
How can I, tell me, how can I be free? How can I, how can you, how can we be free? Oh, humans, my fellow humans, are any of you free? It's aesthetic illusions, aesthetic illusions. None of us are really ever free. Believe me, won't you believe me? Believe me, won't you believe? How can I? 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 How can I be free? Of us free. Tell me, how can I be free? I said I got to be free.
Whoa, what?
I said I got to be free. Don't be defined. Resist the structure. Reject the structure. Fuck 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 the structure.
We got one more. Different.
First of all, we have Melanie Dow on viola. Amma Islam on vocals. Warren Trey Crudup on drums. Brendan Ringen on guitar. The main man over there, Devin Bryden Wallman, piano. You're different. Come on.
We are the last revolution. We are the defunct stars. We are the last revolution. We are defunct stars. Ooh.
We come to celebrate the different voices of the oppressed, folded into the fabric of the living. Surreal the sound.
The sound so real.
Surreal the sound.
The sound so real.
In between the pages of history of violence, you can discover a nation's morality within the confines of a book. What is lost or what is forgotten, it's
all bullshit.
Yeah, it's all what?
It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. We are the last revolution. We are the defunct stars. We are the last revolution. We are the defunct stars. We some defunct stars.
What is known gets distorted, mutilated as idiot noises sound, threaded through a needle or maybe a noose.
Or maybe a noose.
Hate is not a symbol, but a tactical calculation. No one knows how to describe human, or the emphatic has become non-existent, a figment within the contours of this American life.
Yeah, we are the last revolution. We are the defunct stars. We are the last revolution. We are the last defunct stars. We are the last revolution. We are some defunct stars. We are some defunct stars.
Surreal the sound.
The sound so real.
Surreal the sound.
The sound is real. The sound is real.
Late night under the lamplight, I become an observer and watch the woebegone, the forgotten, fold into the fabric of the living, oblivious, yet clueless. To live in a cracked mirror with no reflection is how we see the bright faces of the oppressed.
When sex
calls
on the low, and the hunted survivor
survivors
is always in survival mode. Surreal the sound.
The sound is real.
Surreal the sound.
The sound is so real. The sound is real.
Lulu walked them corridors, lonely in the deadpan of night. Some say the hocus pocus hour, double into a betwitching. Girl could be misread as biblical, or the meek and misaligned, but not the cheek did Lulu turn, callous and cold-hearted, to drink from the cup of Lulu, meant to drown in illusion of dreams, fantastic fantasy. If love is what love does, let it be a bullet in the heart of hate. We come to celebrate.
We come to celebrate. We come to celebrate the difference, the arabesque, the others, the oppressed,
the oppressed,
the oppressed,
the oppressed,
the oppressed. Surreal the sound. The sound is real. The sound is real. Surreal the sound. The sound is real.
Give it up one more time for Melanie Dyer, Warren Trey Crudup, Brendan Regan, Amma Islam, Devin Braja Wallman. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Randall Orton, that's me.
The difference, the arabesque, the other, the oppressed, the difference, the arabesque, the other, the oppressed, the oppressed. Woo! The sound is real. The sound is real. The sound is real. We are the last revolution. We are the defunct stars. We are the last revolution. We are the defunct stars. We are the last revolution. The last revolution. The last revolution. The defunct stars. Surreal the sound. The sound is real. Woo!